good evening, everybody. Happy Friday to all of you. It is the weekend, and I'm so glad that you are here for our new segment of He Said, He Said, He Said. A look at the world from a seasoned Black male perspective. I'm Alvin King, and again, I am so glad that you are here. Our topic for tonight is the skin you're in, and we're specifically going to talk about self-confidence, self-esteem, and body positivity. I, for one, know all about that. Let me just clear something up real quick. We are not therapists. We are not psychiatrists. We are three seasoned men giving you our opinion on a topic that we feel that we can share with you, plain and simple. 1 year ago yesterday, the World Health Organization declared COVID a national pandemic. And this last year alone have had many of us deal with our own self-confidence, self-esteem, and body positivity in ways that are unimaginable. But it hasn't been bad for everyone, and I'm sure like you. As a special feature for the show tonight, in March, we are honoring Women's History Month. The He Said Three are saluting our own women of color in the areas of music, movies, and monumental achievement. So stick with us this month because we have something really good in store for you. Last evening, I don't know if many of you had the opportunity to hear Joe Biden deliver his primetime message that was quite presidential. He noted on May 1st that all Americans will qualify for the vaccine, and by July the 4th, that we can hopefully have an opportunity to celebrate a holiday close to how we used to, not how we used to, because I don't think we're ever going back to that, but close to it. And after experiencing 528,000 deaths from COVID that are now on the decline, we are finally beating this pandemic to some degree. But because of you getting your vaccines and wearing your mask and just staying safe and surrounding yourself with people who you trust, we're going to beat this thing. And through it all, I am overly grateful that I'm here to be amongst you tonight. But on that subject, of being grateful, I'm going to bring in my two co-hosts, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm grateful for them. Jaques Whitfield and Vash Bodie. You guys come on in the He Said, He Said, He Said. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're
awesome. Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing
Can you believe
well
it's
tonight.
Friday all over again? Yeah.
How you doing? Yes, it is Friday, and I have to say that I wasn't expecting the week to go by as fast as it did.
Yeah.
But it did. And
I know.
And here we
it's crazy.
are. But I've been looking forward to being here with you guys. So I have.
Yeah, we've got a great show
and
tonight.
since you all have outed me for being a yes. Well, look, I also want to make note of you guys who are watching tonight. Hey, Javon. Jaques and Vash found out that I was a Gemini. For those of you who are into astrology, I'm not like I'm into astrology, but not to the point to where someone can look at me and say, "Okay, you're a Gemini," and start giving me all their little assumptions and everything. But they've been working with me for a few months, so they think that I'm that Gemini guy. Don't be fooled.
We have finally figured out the reason why. So that was a huge piece of the puzzle that was missing. And the minute you disclose that, I'm like, oh, I get it.
It's amazing. It's amazing how astrology does help you figure things out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We love you. We love you both.
So thank you, Alvin. We love
Yeah, thank you for loving me. Okay, moving right on, everybody. Again, welcome to the show tonight. I want to thank the viewers for writing into us. And tonight we have a viewer that actually wrote into us, and she wanted us to answer a question for her. So I took the question and gave it to our VBR, whose name is Shayna. And I've asked Shayna to read the question for us tonight. So I'm sorry. And the person who sent in the question, her name is Kay Laporte. So thank you, Kay. All right. So we're going to see a video.
I think they're in the process of getting it queued up.
I think that, okay, just a second. Okay.
Right. We should play some Jeopardy music or something.
We can keep going. The video is not ready yet. It's being queued up, ladies and gentlemen. But But again, your feedback and commenting on the show and what we're doing are very helpful to us. And we do have an IG page and we do have a Gmail page. And our IG page is Vash.
He said live. And we have a Facebook page, which is also he said live. Yes. And so even at the end of the show, we'll make some updates.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to make some updates.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we're looking at your comments. Derwin, thank you for being on today. Hey, Keith from New York. Thank you guys for joining the call today. Hey, Rodney. Hey, Bobby Edwards. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you, but we're getting this video together, and hopefully in a few seconds we're going to play it for you because I really want you to hear her question. But while we're waiting for the video, I do have something that I want to talk about right now, real quick, since our subject is the skin you're in. What has dominated the news this week is the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview with Oprah.
Everywhere.
And if that's not a good segue to talk about the skin you're in, I have heard so many different comments from people about Meghan Markle that have kind of blown my mind. I mean,
really?
I've heard things like she should have known what she should. I've heard she should have known what she was going into.
Yes.
I've heard that she doesn't have the Black experience, so she thought that she was going into something that was safe. And I mean, I have heard comments about that I have literally had to have some pretty intense discussions about with people. And my thing is, I don't know. I didn't comment. I'm sorry. You guys look like you were going to say something, but I have a strong opinion about.
Yes.
I want to hear what Vash has to say because I have a pretty compelling opinion and experience as well. But Vash, what do you think about all that?
First of all, I think people are correct. She should have known going into this royal family what she was up against. We have a history that we can go back and read of this family killing people, oppressing people, you name it. So to go in there thinking that, oh, their descendants are just going to be all lovey-dovey about you, a woman who has been married before, who is also Black, half Black. I mean, she's very mixed. She's extremely light. But to take their baby, like he was really well loved. And to think that he's the one who sort of kind of went off the rails. Come on. Not saying that she should have accepted it, but to not have expected it is naive.
So I have a different opinion. I saw the interview. Yeah, so I saw the interview, and where I was kind of agnostic about Meghan, I have tremendous love and respect and admiration for her now. Hey, look, guys, remember about 30 years ago or more, Princess Diana, a white member of the aristocracy, went through the exact same thing. And there is the public perception and the media machine around the royal family. And then there's the actual family itself. Now, Vash, I think you hit a point, and a very good one, that I think the royal family itself is the symbol of, white supremacy, is the symbol of colonialism, is the symbol of, there's a reason that most of the world speaks English, which is a colonial language, because the British conquered by force a lot of, the reason that all of us as brown men speak English, maybe some of our relatives speak French, is again because of colonialism. So that's and Vash, you're right, that's the reality. But I have been so deceived. I'm a huge fan of the Crown. I'm just totally sucked in. I'm like, oh my God, Queen Elizabeth, she's so wonderful. But you know what? Negro, please. I'm like, of course she didn't know.
Well,
But
hold on. See, you have assumed that she said that she didn't know. And that's where I have the problem. She never said that she didn't think that she was going to get treated a certain way. And I think that she probably knew it, but she was in love with somebody. What was she going to say? I'm not going to marry you because they're going to treat me like crap. She really didn't know that it was going to be to that level, in my opinion. I don't think she did not know that she wouldn't be received well. I'm not buying that. I don't think
Look,
that. And hold on.
Mm.
And one more point I want to make is I think that the royal family thought because Harry is the guy who sows his royal oats, and they didn't think that they thought this relationship with this black woman was going to be a fling. So we weren't even going to worry about it. You know, he going to get over there. He going to get tired of it. It's not going to happen. Well, lo and behold, that did not happen. He married her. He now has a child by her. But I don't think that Meghan, if she knew that she was going to be treated that bad by the tabloids, that she would have entered it and holding her hostage, taking her passport and taking her keys, so you can't go anywhere. I don't think that was in the rule book when she signed on.
Again,
go ahead, Vash.
She's not paying attention to what goes on in that family. She didn't pay attention to what happened to Diana. There's so much I want to say. First of all, because we're talking about the skin we're in. Let's go. I know. Remember when Nordstrom's opened up? I was a young professional when Nordstrom opened up, especially in San Francisco. And I learned really quickly that even the way that I look, as soon as I walked in there, they saw a black man. Right. And I knew that there were certain things that I was going to
very fashionable about black men. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I knew that I had to go in there looking fashionable because it was partially based on race, but it was also partially based on how you looked and how you dressed. So for me, knowing and learning how I needed to walk into Nordstrom to be treated properly, for her to not know that she was going to go in there and be treated really fucking piss poor. Ooh, I'm sorry about that word, but you know, I think so. And she's smart. I like her. She's extremely smart. I have a lot of respect for her, but it's the royal freaking family.
I don't think that
she's operated with
I don't think that she went in there knowing, and that's why I'm having a problem with everybody saying that, and that's the problem that I'm having. Because no one can say that she thought that she went in there thinking that everything was going to be gravy and rosy. No one can say that. Okay. And that's where I'm having the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whether she knew or whether she not. So, you know what I think, whether she knew or whether she didn't know, the reality is that she had a lived experience that is very similar to the lived experience of most brown people on the planet. And yes, Vash, you're right. By virtue of her being mixed race, that she operated in a certain degree. I don't like to say privilege, but I will say she had a lot of capital. She had relationship capital. She had performance capital, being an actress and, you know, and part of the American elite, right? And of course, she won the lotto. She married a crown prince to the king, you know, to the throne of the United Kingdom. But she found out very quickly that, baby, you know what? You just like the rest of us. And I think that that's the message that needs to resonate, especially since now the entire planet is dealing with racial equity, dealing with social justice, dealing with the chickens have literally come home to roost. And for me, how perfect is it that they came home to roost in the kingdom that started it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Look, we have to go. The video is ready. Thank you all. Because clearly we're not on the same page with that. And I appreciate that. But I'm like, we might have to revisit that some other time. But,
I think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, our video is ready for the question that was asked of us from our last week's show, The Power of Love. I'm ready.
Hello, guys. I'm Shayna Taylor. Great show on The Power of Love. I've got a question for he said. Here's the scenario. You're dating two people and they are perfect. You love them both. One you're madly in love with and the other is madly in love with you. You want to get married. Which one should you marry? The one that you are deeply in love with or the one that loves you the most?
I love this question.
So did you all get it? You all got it?
Got it.
I was floored. I was a little stumped and I had to think about it and I'm still not sure. So one of you guys can go first because and for our viewers who didn't hear that, the question was that this person is in love with two people and I'm sorry, the question they would like to, if they were to decide to get married to the person, would they get married to the person that they're madly in love with, or to the person that's madly in love with them?
So for me, in the name of transformation, I have grown. So I had to do that for you, Vash. So my first answer would have been, I would have married, being, from Southern lineage and where marriage is an Olympic sport, I would have married the person who is madly in love with me, because they always say, make sure that the other person is more into you than they're into them. So that would have been my initial response several years ago. Now I'm actually, I do not subscribe to like heteronormative values of, monogamy and relationship. I probably would have found a way to have them both, honestly, because I believe that love is infinite and that relationships get to be whatever they get to be. And so I probably would have worked out something different, a more modern arrangement. Yeah.
Okay, so it's me. I didn't hear, would you marry the one, would you go toward the one who's in love with you, or the one that you're more in love with? And Rodney just asked the question, so is she saying that one she's in love with is not in love with her? I don't have that answer to that. It's just that one loves her more, but she loves the other one more. That was my takeaway from the question.
Yeah, so I think initially I would have married the person that was more in love with me. I'm presuming that I'm equal. I'm attracted to both of them. I think now, in the space I'm in now, I would have worked out, a modern arrangement where I could have my cake and eat it too. Says the Virgo.
And Bob?
I'm with Rodney. I have questions. Does the one that she's more in love with love her equally, and just the other one loves her more? Also, I'd want to know how good the sex is with both of them.
That's important.
Now, see, I'm with you, Bosh, because there's some loopholes right there. And Keith said, I think the person who you're in love with. Okay, thanks, Keith. I
love Rodney's answer.
Yes,
there was something that I couldn't. And Kay is on here. Kay said equal. Everything is equal. She's unsure who to marry. I really can't tell you, Kay, but I'm with Vosh. I would have to boil it down to sex. I was like, okay, what's gonna keep me happy the most? Okay, in that regard. And that's where I am right now today.
But it's been a long year of no human contact. So I'm telling you, my response.
That's where I am today. I'm with Vosh. It will have to boil down who is giving me the best entertainment. Okay, of the two. As Keith said, though I may love them both, I'm following my heart.
Well, then let me say this then. My friend Kiyomi, her mother told her that she should always be dating 3 people. That way she's not put into a situation where she has to choose between one or the other, that there is a third factor. So I would tell her, get another man and then figure it out.
I like that. I like your friend. Yeah, that works for me.
Well, first of all, well, thank you, Kay. Thank you for giving us the question. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Awesome question.
Thank you. I'm glad that we could do that. So,
and let us know what she does. I want to know what she does. And I want some cake.
Who is this?
And I like what Rodney said. Rodney said Rodney says a woman of a certain age has to think about financial stability and good sex. I tell you, all human beings need to think about that, quite frankly. So good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry, I was getting ready to leave, but Vosh, you brought up something about, and probably another talk show, the whole throuple. I mean, being in a relationship with no. I'm not going to go there because I'm getting ready to give her some advice, like love both of them, and I can't. That's not what she asked.
Let's make that another show, though, Alvin. Let's make that another show.
There's a song, Two Lovers, and I love them both the same.
We're gonna make that another show.
Yeah, I love that.
Huh. Okay.
Love those questions.
Thank you, everyone. Love the question. Thank you very much. So we're tonight's show. We're talking about the skin you're in, And again, we were specifically talking about, self-esteem and self-confidence and body image. I was going to start this off because I think that it comes in phases in terms of me dealing with the skin that I'm in. I've gone through phases of my life where I've had to deal with different things that have made me really look at and deal with my self-confidence and my self-esteem and my body image in that area. So I want to bring up something, but I want to hear from you guys on how you feel about the where you are with the skin you're in.
So I love this topic, and I think, and I know you and I have talked about this. I feel like I've gone through this the entire 57 years I've been on the planet. You know, as a kid, I had buck teeth, freckled face, I was skinny, I had big feet. I was just awkward. And I just never see, by college, I finally got that, kind of like little swag, preppy thing going on. And then, I transitioned again, then transitioned again. It seems like now I finally caught up with myself at 50. And what I've learned is just to surrender. Because I've gone through, like most recently, to be gray or not be gray. That was a huge thing for me that I picked up from my grandmother, because, I never knew my grandmother had gray hair until she had Alzheimer's, and then she stopped dying. And I was like, oh my God, Mommy Smith has gray hair. Because I always thought because my grandmother had jet black hair, I would always have jet black hair my whole life. But it's a thing. And I know even hair, when at one point in time, I was losing hair and I went through this, both of you are beautiful bald men, and making that decision, I ultimately had to surrender and say, hey, look, my dad, lost his hair. My uncles lost their hair and they look amazing. And so when I get to that point, I will surrender. But Alvin, I love this topic because I think men are just as insecure as women are. And we don't really, we don't express it. So, I totally resonate with this. And yes, I go through that even as far as today, to wear glasses or not wear glasses, because, if I did not wear my glasses, I could not see, but both you guys look so clean and crisp, and I feel like I'm Poindexter over here, so yeah, it is a constant conversation I'm having.
Interesting.
When we thought about talking about this topic, the first thing I went to was little Alvin. Little Alvin. What was the most devastating for little Alvin growing up and dealing with the skin that I'm in? And the first thing that came from me growing up in DC, Chocolate City, okay, you think, okay, it's wonderful, but I grew up during an era where dark-skinned Black people and light-skinned Black people were kind of put it. If you were light, I grew up thinking that if you were lighter than me, then you were better than me. I grew up in that area, and it really messed with my, my self-esteem a lot. I mean, it really messed with my self-esteem through elementary school. And even though I think my mom was hard to make sure that I didn't feel that way, I had to go to school alone. And so that's where I first started dealing with dealing with the skin that I was in, and having to come to terms that my skin was, it was what it was, and that I was no less than anybody whose skin was lighter than mine. That's where it first started for me. And as I grew up, it became my sexuality, because I was always Alvin. I played baseball, I played football, but when I wanted to go jump double dutch, I did that too. So I didn't think about it as, me being a word that I wasn't familiar with at that time, which was gay. I didn't look at that. I didn't grow up looking at my mother's clothes, asking for a dollhouse, none of that. So as I grew up, that whole piece of my life was a part of me dealing with my with the skin that I was in, until I was able to grow up and understand what it's all about. So
when did you finally reconcile those issues, especially the color issues, Alvin? Because I had a similar experience, except I was right on the cusp. I wasn't as light as Vash, but I made the cut. And I don't know why I made the cut. I just like right on the line between light and dark. So when did that reconcile to you that you realized that you were a beautiful melanated man?
I was going to say when I went to high school, when I went to high school, that's when I became, I was wearing Huskies up until I went to high school. So when I got to high school, I started slimming down a bit. I was still wearing Huskies, but nobody really knew it. And my color wasn't an issue. Everybody started gravitating, they liked Alvin because Alvin was jovial, upbeat. It wasn't about the color of my skin. It was the content of my character at that point. And it was high school that I started honing in on it and realizing, okay, it's really not like that. But then I started producing fashion shows, and I went to Howard University. I went over on Howard University's campus, and it came back like, wow.
Wow.
It came back.
Yeah.
It came back. And so, but I was ready to deal with it at that time. I was ready.
Now, I don't know if you guys follow Basketball Wives.
Yes. Who are you? Team who?
It depends on which issue, because those are some crazy women. But I do like some trashy TV every once in a while, and I don't really like the Real Housewives series. I like Bad Girls Club and Basketball Wives. I want somebody to duke it out every once in a while.
Gotcha.
But they're dealing with an issue about colorism right now.
And I'm following that. Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, it was pretty much that there still seems to be that general experience. And Alvin, I mean, I don't get to have a conversation with people who say that they've experienced that so much. I'm following that line on Basketball Wives.
We have a question. Bobby Edwards said that the significance of the physical and youth within the culture of gay men also impacts your sense of attractiveness and embracing you, skin, body, shape, etc. Thank you, Bobby. Yes, that is true.
That's powerful.
I still deal with it, but in a different way now. I see it, but it's not it's not in my circles as much as it was as when I was growing up. As an adult, it's clearly not in my circle. But I think as a person and how I deal with it right now, I go to the beach and I become a plum. I am as black as this shirt. I just get as dark, and my skin is I take good care of my skin. So I don't even think about it anymore. I'm only having this conversation because I think those are things that impacted me as an adult growing up. That in terms of me dealing with my self-confidence and my self-confidence.
So Alvin, Brandy had a question earlier that I thought was really powerful. And she asked, what would you tell yourself at 25 that you know now? So what would we tell our younger selves on this topic?
And hold on, Brandy, thank you. Jaques called you a she because he didn't know, but Brandy is a he. I happen to know who he is.
Sorry.
So it's okay. Okay. No, Brandy. I don't want Brandy throwing the shoe at me saying you didn't correct that. Okay, go ahead. So
sorry, Brandy.
What would you tell your 20? Oh my God. Well, first of all, I was hanging out with Brandy at 25. No, I'm just kidding. What I would tell my 25-year-old self that that the risk that you're about to take that is so gut-wrenching, the risk that you're about to take is going to serve you well. Do not procrastinate. Do not let anyone talk you out of it. If you feel like you should do a certain something, do it. That's what I would tell my 25-year-old self.
So for me, and again, I'm looking at Vash. Because like not transformed, I would tell myself if I was talking to my younger self now, I would say everything happens for a purpose. You're going to be fine. I would also tell myself, part of me, I would tell myself to lean in and totally go with the flow. Like I came out at 40. I should have come out at 25. And so I went through a lot of things, and I am grateful for all of those tribulations. However, I think if I had come out at 25 And now I'm arguing with myself. But I would tell myself, if I'm looking back now, everything's going to be fine. Everything has its purpose, and you're going to come into your own. So, but I just know, I wish I had done things differently, but I'm grateful for the journey that I have because it led me to where I am today.
I'd tell my 25-year-old self to drink lots of water. And that Vaseline is magic. Do not make fun of shiny Black people.
Well, I had to think back because when at 25 years old, I was in a beautiful relationship. I was very well known around Washington, D.C. I had also started to, I had what some people call the picket fence, the nice car, the nice this, the nice that. What I didn't have was myself, because I was actually in a relationship where I couldn't be all that I wanted to be until later on. And the moment I decided to be all that I was going to be, the relationship got rocky. So at 25, I was something else. I was just living the life. Hold on, Carl says self-love is exclusive and magical
Elusive.
when you feel
Elusive. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought he said exclusive. I'm sorry, elusive. Huh.
Love can be exclusive. That's okay. You shouldn't give it away.
Yeah. But you know what? I appreciate that comment. I do appreciate the comment because that's the other thing I would tell myself is to love myself, is to completely love, embrace, accept, and just be in a space of radical self-love. That's something that I didn't have at 25. And I was so focused on the external that I was not taking care of and nurturing what was inside me. So definitely. Yeah.
Oh my God. Rodney says, I was 6 days a week. I was a 6-day-a-week church boy at the age of 25. I would tell myself, God, accept me just as I am.
Yes. Love that.
I wasn't going to, but that was also a powerful moment for me in accepting my sexuality because, again, I'm just being Alvin, and I heard people talking about me in church and made me feel less than when I didn't even know what was going on, and they were talking about me being different, and I had to think, well, wait a minute, I'm in a place where I should be safe, where nobody should be talking about me, and I should be okay. Whatever I'm doing, I'm not hurting anybody. So that was also a pivotal moment in my life when I questioned the skin that I'm in.
Now, see, I'm not really a religious person. So I grew up not really in environments like people who have sort of followed Christianity and those things. So having to overcome that hurdle was not really something that I ever had to do. Strangely enough, I grew up in really bizarre environments. I moved to the Philippines when I was 12, so I grew up overseas. I was always surrounded by people that were all kinds of shades of brown. I always found myself sort of in the middle. So there was, and even like with my gayness, there was always gay military people. Like I always saw a rainbow and always found myself in the middle. So I grew up never really having to deal with any of this, like trying to fit in or be whatever. I was just always able to accept myself for who I am. And that's a magical thing to get to. So Jaques, your journey to that is magical. And as the viewers have been saying, Carl, especially, to get there is magical, and knowing and trusting in what that's going to feel like, hopefully will be the light that gets more people to it.
Absolutely. And I think Alvin, this gets to be its own show because all of us have had this journey and in this space. And I think it's really interesting what the role that religion played in our decision to love and accept ourselves. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because my mom and I were talking about that. My mom is actually an associate pastor in her church, and my brother's a pastor. And I'm like, aren't you glad you have a gay son? Because, girl, you need me right now.
Yes, indeed. It's a perspective and a viewpoint.
Absolutely. But I think the point that you raised is a really interesting one, Alvin, which why I think that I think this is an incredibly interesting topic, because I was born Roman Catholic, because my father's family is third generation Roman Catholic. And then I made this transition between Roman Catholicism to Southern Baptist to evangelical. And now, Vash, I am proudly in the space that you're in, being very spiritual and not being religious at all.
Okay.
And so I just know what those experiences, Alvin, what you said, like really resonated with me, because you go to church because you think it's a safe space, right? And then all of a sudden you hear like, wait a minute, they're talking about me.
Not cool.
And not cool at all. So, yeah, it just, even in my relationships that I have had, that it's church has been an issue where I have to tap out and walk away from, a man that I love, because I'm like, I can't subject myself willingly to something that's coming across the pulpit that is minimizing me as a human being. That's not going to work for me, no matter what the tradition is, or no matter what the culture is, or no matter what you think God says that we should be. I really went for and embraced this radical self-love. And I'm grateful that I did.
Well, and Keith Brent says you have to love yourself regardless of what other people say about you, think of you, or feel towards you. You can't control any of it anyway. Well, and as much as I know that to be true right now, I going back again, little Alvin in church, hearing that, 12 years old, and not knowing like, well, what's wrong with me, kind of thing. But as an adult, I completely feel the way Keith does. I love God. I am a religious person. And so there is no one on this earth that can take that feeling that I have about the love that I have for God. And so no one, I don't care, there's not a minister, a pastor, no one can take that away from me. So that's where I'm in my life right now. Boss, you said something, Jacques, you said something earlier that was also a pivotal moment about me and my image when I cut all my hair off. Baby, it was traumatic.
Tell us about that.
It was traumatic. I got drunk. I got drunk.
Wow. Because you look so amazing with the bald head. You look amazing.
Good look.
Yeah, yeah. Both of you do. I'm like, I need to be bald.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we're gonna cut your hair one episode.
Well, it's not as easy as it looks, is it, boss? It's not as easy upkeep as you think.
Every 3 days, you got to do it at least every 2 or 3 days.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I would never have imagined that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is tough to keep up, and it's very sensitive. If you go to the beach after you shave your head, you will get burnt. You will get burnt. It is.
Wow.
If you can do it, do it. But I have what I call an $80 a month regimen that I put on my head. Thank you, Kay. Yeah, we're all sick as hell. Thank you, Kay. I have what I call I've had to put a lot of time into keeping my head up. But when I went bald, it was very scary for me, because at that time everybody wasn't bald. Guys were still trying to hold on to their hair. And Michael Jordan was, like I told you earlier, Jacques, he was my inspiration. He was the one who I looked at and said, okay, if you can do it and bounce the ball, I can do it and go to work. And
awesome.
I never forget. They look.
So I was going to say, on this topic, when we're talking about loving the skin that you're in as Black men, I think hair is a thing. It's a big thing. Like going to the barbershop, that's a whole cultural experience.
Yes.
Even finding a barber, when I moved from North Carolina and I moved to Los Angeles, the first thing I needed to find was a barber. And then moving from Los Angeles up to, Northern California to Sacramento, again, it's like, I got to find the neighborhood. I got to find somebody who can do, because if my hair's not cut the way I want to, it would completely send me into breakdown. And I think a lot of us as men, especially Black men, never think about our barber. I mean, my barber, literally, shout out to Antoine Dunn, knows everything about me. He's better than my therapist, my dentist, my agent. I mean, he's everything. And I think all of us have that relationship with our crown, whether it's bald, whether there's hair. We spend a lot of time perfecting, our look. And I think that's a thing that in terms of loving the skin you're in, how many of us are cool going it? Like, would you guys, like in the pandemic, it's 3 days and it's 5 days and you haven't done, the bald regime. Would you still go out? Would you still go to the grocery store? Would you still, do Zoom calls? What was that experience like?
Well, the way I got to being bald was, did you want to take it somewhere, or can I?
No. Go ahead. A reader said was responding to Jaques, but I'll wait till after you go.
Okay. The way that I went bald, when I got to Los Angeles, I moved from San Francisco, left high tech, went into the entertainment industry, and I was on a show, and it was a Black show, and there was a barber there. So I was like, well, if you're doing their hair, how much would you charge to do my hair? So he started doing my hair. So I have lots of secrets about Black actors and their hair. Oh, okay. Like, it's no surprise that Steve Harvey is bald now, because they were doing a lot of work for him back.
I remember that. Yeah, right? That was, So,
at a certain point,
when I found that out, I was totally freaked out, but go ahead. Yeah.
And now you can buy those products, which is over the counter. But at a certain point, like, my hair was already sort of receding and getting thin just because of genetics. And he cut my hair really, really short one day. And I thought, I paid a lot of money for him to cut my hair in a way that I know that I can cut my hair, because that's all he did was like go down. So I just took over and do it myself. And I think that everybody needs to know how to make themselves really cute in 20 minutes. So the upkeep is not high. Just shave it.
Just do it.
Do it and move on. Yep.
But most men, and not to spend too much time on this, but most Black men deal with pseudo-folliculitis, which is where you get bumps on the back of your neck from shaving, and at least most men of my complexion that I know, they deal with it a lot, and if they don't have the right, if they're not shaving their hair right, or don't know their skin and what their skin can take, they subject themselves to that, and then that will turn you off, and then you're feeling all sad because you got all these bumps in your hair, but you really haven't taken care of it the way you should. So to all the bald men out there, do your homework, because this is not easy. Okay, this is not easy to look like this. No.
I would like to know if anybody's out there that's bald that has a regime that they like. I'd like to hear about it, because I know what I use, but I'm always open to learning new stuff. So if you got a new gig on how to keep your head bald, shaved, and looking good with smooth skin, let me know.
Cool. Okay. Alvin, you said there was a question?
Well, yes, but let's say this on IG. If you guys, what Vash just said, you guys can send in, your regimen. Go to He Said Live on IG. Our Facebook page will be up soon, but you can go there and send in your regimen to us. And if you want to send a picture of your beautiful head, you can do that too. It will be posted on our IG page. So please do that. We want to hear from you. But Monica Pleasant said, your positive voice must be the loudest voice you hear.
Yeah.
I know what Monica is saying. I'm trying to find. I have so many voices, and don't say that because I'm a Gemini.
I was going to say exactly that.
I have voices talking to me all the time. Saying, I mean, because I want them to stay around me. I call them angels. Y'all call them voices. I call them angels. But thanks, Monica. I believe. And Kay said, I know 2 Black men who went bald because of Michael Jordan. Add an earring, and I'm loving it. Okay,
yeah.
Kay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think thousands of Black men went bald because of Michael Jordan. And quite frankly, I love the look. Thank you, Michael.
Well, look, you guys, we have 5 minutes, but I want to ask this question because this is pretty important. Since the pandemic, okay, a lot of us have. I mean, I know that I picked up 10 pounds just being home. I never thought first of all, that I would be home a whole year doing nothing. But I have really gone through a lot just trying to get back into my swing of things. I've tried, eating less, and I've tried working out in my backyard. And though I'm maintaining, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not happy totally with the skin that I'm in yet. And I want COVID to go away. So I can go out, I can go back to the gym. I can start doing things that I was doing to maintain myself. So it has been pretty rough for me, just dealing with this. But the fact that I don't have to go anywhere was my saving grace. I'm only getting dressed from the half up. So,
right.
But but a lot of people are suffering with their image during COVID is where I'm going with this. And I know I'm one of those people who went through that period, honestly.
And for me, it was an incredible time of surrender, because I'm like, the whole world is going through drama. So what I look like to go to the grocery store in my mask is not relevant. And I'll tell you, Vash and Alvin, it was the most freeing thing for me. I looked at COVID for me was an opportunity just to reset my life and to let go of stupid stuff that did not serve me. And it was just yet another step in the progression of living in absolute freedom and just surrendering to the universe and being and really radical self-love. I get to love me regardless if I've lost 10 pounds, gained 10 pounds, if I've got a 5 o'clock shadow, if my hair is looking crazy, it doesn't matter. And I'm so grateful for that gift, because I think I earned and developed a greater sense of confidence, because I realized the shell that we're living in, it changes, but who we are internally, we are eternal spiritual beings, and we're just, traversing this physical plane for such a time as this. And what the physical part looks like, I don't care about. It really allowed me to let stuff go and to love myself more. And I learned to be not so critical, because I was very, very hard, very, very critical of myself and others. But I let it go, and it feels freaking amazing. It really does.
Well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask Jaques this question, because you're a model. You're modeling now, and I've spent 35 years. I've spent 35 years of my life working with models. And so when you just said that, you don't care, that, you just, this is who you are, that is a bold and a very helpful statement to some people who are doing what you do, who don't have that type of attitude, because that industry doesn't allow you to think that way. So and
you know what? But here's my secret, Alvin, and I'm glad if I can just share. You know what? Authenticity is fucking hot. It's hot. And so for me, when I surrendered to who I was, I booked gigs, I booked commercials, I booked photo shoots, and I'm like, and the only thing that changed is I'm happy with me. But that transmits through the camera, on the lens. It's a whole creative process. And I get to flow in that creative process, because when I started modeling a million years ago in LA as a young kid, I wasn't comfortable with me, and it showed. And now I am so comfortable with me that also shows. And I think that's the key. That's been the key for me. So, yay for transformation and yay for authenticity, because I appreciate it. It's like, you know what? If you don't like, but before, if I didn't get a gig, I'm like, in a breakdown. No, I'm like, oh, well, I'll just get the next one, or your loss. So I am loving this space, and I hope it continues.
I mean, something just to encapsulate that feeling is just...
Vash, we're going to let you close out. So go ahead. We're going to let you close out.
Right on. I was just going to dovetail off of what Jaques said, which is, there's just a little expression. It's like, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, you're going to tickle somebody somewhere. Let that fuel your confidence.
Absolutely.
I like that. I'm coming back to you. Tickle somebody somewhere.
No matter what you look like, no matter who you are, you're going to tickle somebody somewhere. Just, let that fuel it.
Well, thank you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up our segment on the skin you're in. Vash and Jaques, thank you. You guys I hope what we've been discussing tonight will resonate with some of you. Please don't be a stranger. Write into us and let us know how you feel. You know how to reach us. He said live at IG, and he said live at gmail.com. Please get
And
in touch
Facebook.
with us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I love this. And everybody who's trending, thank you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, Rodney. Rodney said he really enjoyed it. I appreciate that. Well,
Thank you,
it's
Rodney.
time for our special segment for the month, everybody. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, for the month of March, we are celebrating in honor of Women's History Month. We are celebrating women in different genres, and tonight is music. And so we all selected our favorite artist, someone who we feel is deserving of this recognition. And I'm just going to give it to Jaques because it's all his right now.
So my favorite art, and I'm wearing her T-shirt, if I may.
Let's see it.
Sometimes a rose grows in concrete from her latest album. My favorite female vocalist, I have been a fan of her for her entire life, and that is Cy Smith. There she is. That's my baby cousin. That's my first. I love her. I have, and so shout out to Howard University. She's a proud Bison, a Howard University alum. And I used to, when she was a little girl, I used to take her to music lessons. And and she always had the touch, right? I'm like, you're going to be somebody really special one day. And lo and behold, she is. She's had a wonderful career. She currently has her own solo career, but she started out, actually, I remember when she moved from Washington, D.C., she packed up her car and she just drove across country from D.C. to L.A. and has never stopped working. She was a featured background singer on American Idol for several seasons. She was on Ally McBeal for several seasons. She did amazing work. She and Al Green co-wrote the theme to Soul Food, the movie. Yeah, that's right. Go Bisons. Soul Food, the television show, and they actually won an Emmy for that. She's performed with Shaka Khan, Sheila E., Al Green. Her most iconic role was being a background singer for Whitney Houston. And she sang with Whitney for a number of years. The iconic performance there was live at the Kennedy Center. And she had her own solo, and Whitney shouted her out. And I was just like, oh my God, it's my baby. She's also on tour with Chris Bodie as his featured female vocalist. And she's everybody's favorite singer. A total Forrest Gump moment. She and her husband, I'll just close. She and her husband went to Anita Baker concert. Anita Baker saw her and shouted out, "That's my favorite singer, y'all, Cy Smith." So love her. Thank you.
She's phenomenal. She really is. I love Cy Smith. I think she's fantastic.
I saw her
I'm a fan
recently. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, Cy. All right, hey. Vash, it's your time of appreciation. Who do you have, Vash?
Well, for me, what we do here is try to inspire people. And my artist is someone who inspired music as we know it, rock and roll, R&B as we know it. Her name is Sister Rosetta Tharp. And she was born in 1915. So she would be 106 years old this year. And what she did was she took old gospel music back in the day and put rhythmic guitar and drums to it to create a sound that we all know as sort of rock and roll. She inspired Chuck Berry, Elvis, Johnny Cash, Johnny Lee Lewis. I mean, all the people that who were pioneers in their form of music. If you listen to their music and then listen to Rosetta Tharp, you are going to hear what she did for them. They say that Black folks invented a lot. We did a lot for music, etc. Well, we can take it all the way back to Sister Rosetta Tharp.
That's right.
I mean, and giving it to you, fashion, style, hype man, lyrics, everything. I mean, so, I want to give it up to someone who made it all possible for so many people.
Well, I
Yeah.
want to say thank you for sending that video clip of her today to us because it inspired me right before the show tonight. And I was like, okay, Sister Rosetta Tharp. So she's going on my what do you call it? My Pandora. So I'm gonna put her on my Pandora. Okay.
And you know what we'll do? What we'll do is we are going to go live with our Facebook page really soon, and that will be on our Facebook page. So you should check out.
Awesome.
He said live for a link to our favorite video of Sister Rosetta Tharp.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Well, I'm going to do a little bit of a trivia about the person who I'm going to recognize tonight. So you guys can start signing in whenever you get ready. If you know who I'm talking about, she's a singer, songwriter, she's a actress, she's an author, she's a businesswoman. She got discovered in 1952 on a show that was similar to American Idol and what do you call it? The Voice. She has 7 Grammy Awards and 22 Grammy nominations. She was born in a state that recently turned blue in 2021, and one of the most famous songs about that same, and she's also famous for one of the songs from that state. She was recently featured in a new movie, singing one of her famous songs tailored specifically for the movie. Who am I talking about, everybody?
I know now.
Oh,
Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight.
Yes.
She is the Empress of Soul. She is Gladys Knight, people. She is
That's
Gladys
fantastic.
Knight. You cannot, any song that you put on the radio that Gladys Knight is singing, you don't have to guess, you don't have to think, you don't have to. No. It is her voice at 70. How old is she right now? She's 70 right now. She's 70. Her voice at 70 sounds as good now as it did when she was 1952. In 1952. And this week, that's right, Bobby, Gladys, this week, Gladys sung the national anthem at the All-Star game. And if you all can go on YouTube and see that, it is absolutely incredible. Wow. I'm not going to go down her list of everything that she's ever done, but I'm going to tell you all this. Please, if you guys don't know about it, please listen to the soundtrack of Claudine. Okay?
Yeah.
Claudine. Listen to the soundtrack of Claudine. Listen to that soundtrack and listen to Gladys Knight perform. It is absolutely incredible, everybody. My musical artist of the month, of the week is Gladys Knight. So thank you all. Thank you guys. That was great. Okay, so we had someone who's neo soul. Then we had someone who is legendary. I mean, she is what's the best word to describe? Trailblazer?
Would that be
pioneer?
Frontier? Yeah, pioneer. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Pioneer. And Gladys, we're going to say that Gladys is just epic.
Iconic.
Okay, she's just epic.
Yeah.
Iconic. Thank you. Well, guys, we are nearing the end of another show. And I want to let everybody know that next week, our topic is going to be to date or not to date. That is the question. Okay. Right on. That's going to be our topic for next week. And, you know, we also, every week, we want to leave you guys with some words of the week. And the words of the week for this week is never assume that every critic is hating on you. Some people are simply telling you the truth. Word. Okay?
Amen.
Think about that. Receive that. Thank you, guys. Look, we again, it was a great show. Vash and Jaques, you guys were simply incredible, and I really appreciate you guys. And this was a great show. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
You were amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love doing this.
Thank you for your leadership. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So, and I think we have some ideas for some more shows because of the conversation that we had with this show.
Yep.
Oh, we definitely have some ideas for more shows, and thank you. But we do want everybody, please, every Friday night, right here on Facebook Live, we're live coming at you I'm now saying he said. I'm saying the he said three instead of just saying it all. He said. He said. He said. It is the he said three, ladies and gentlemen. But please, let somebody know that we're out there. Share, spread the word, and let us know. So I mean, let them know that we are here every Friday night on Facebook Live. And thank you guys for loving the show. And tonight we're going to close the show out right now, paying tribute to an icon, a civil rights icon, whose funeral is this week, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pay homage to Vernon Jordan. You guys have a good night, and thank you for joining us.
Good night.